Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Erin if you're new here. So it's been a minute since I've uploaded. I feel like I needed to take a break from posting weekly, especially during my off season, just because during my prep I was so in my routine and focused on just getting the task done, which was A, getting lean for my prep and showing up the best I could, and B, filming it and posting it for you guys. So I just took a little bit of a step back after my show from YouTube to kind of enjoy my routine without having to film it. And I love filming and editing for YouTube, but at the same time for YouTube, oh my God, my cat just knocked over a plant. What days I'm gonna have to film, what I'm gonna upload, and worrying about the timeline of getting something up every week. So I'm happy to be back filming a video, and I am gonna start posting weekly again. And I actually have some exciting news that I'm gonna be posting next week on this channel, so stay tuned. Next Wednesday, I'll be uploading that. But to get into today's video, ever since I posted my last week of workouts, you guys have been requesting another one. I think that's my best performing video up to date. So I'm really excited to share my new week of workouts with you guys. So my current split is very specific to my goals, and it's not actually a split that I would recommend for an average lifestyle client, like if you're not competing. The reason why I'm on this split is because of the specific feedback I got from judges on my last show. So my split is catered to work on the feedback that I got from the judges. So keep that in mind when you're figuring out your own workout split, but I'm gonna share mine. Right now I have 3 leg days and I have 2 upper body days. And I actually don't recommend doing legs 3 times a week because there's not a ton of time for muscle recovery. And if you don't have very specific goals or you're not a competitor, it just doesn't make sense to do that many leg days because you might be hindering your recovery. So with that disclaimer, my split right now is a push day, a leg day.
So my split right now is a push day, a leg day, a rest day, a pull day, a leg day, a rest day. Wait,
Okay, I figured it out. My split is a full push day, so chest, shoulders, triceps, then a leg day, an active rest day, a pull day, so back and biceps, another leg day, another rest day, and then a leg day again. So this is a 5-day split, so I get 2 rest days and 5 days when I'm working out, 3 of those being legs, 2 upper body. Like I said, this is not a split I recommend for your average Joe. However, if you are looking for some ideas for your workout, some exercises ideas, or just some new workouts to switch things up, hopefully this video gives you some new ideas and can help with that. Unlike my last week of workouts, I included my dynamic warm-ups in this video, so hopefully you guys like that. With that being said, let's jump into the video. Okay, so I kind of wanted to start this week of workouts by showing you guys the dynamic warm-ups that you do. I have 2 different ones, one I do on leg day and one I do on upper body day. So I'll start with the one I do on leg day. Here I'm starting off with TRX squats just because I have really bad knees, and this helps me warm them up really nicely just so that I can be ready for when I go on to my actual back squats or a hack squat. Then I move on to some lunges on the TRX bands as well. I really like using the TRX bands to warm up because it really allows me to ease into putting weight on my knees and just get them really warmed up at my own pace, so I don't have to put a ton of pressure on them right away. I really have to warm up my knees thoroughly because I do have a lot of knee pain, popping, cracking. Try warming up really thoroughly and that might solve some of your problems. After I feel like my knees are warmed up, I go into some hip mobility work. So here I'm just doing some leg swings and just really getting my hips loosened up for squats or whatever I do next. I also do some leg circles just to really get warm and get some mobility going there. Next, I'm moving into some hip mobility exercises on the floor. This is one of my favorites because it's not only helping me open up my hips, but it also helps warm up my knees a little bit more with that position that I'm getting into at the end where my knee is going a little bit past my toe. So I do that on both sides, and this just helps open up my hips and get my knees and my ankles really nice and warm to squat. I also like to do this one where I'm seated on the ground. This warms up my internal hip rotation as well, and it just feels really good on the hips and helps me get nice and warm. One thing that specifically really bothers my knees and my ankles is getting into that really deep position when I squat. So what I'm doing here is I'm holding my ankle in place and just warming up that last range of motion and that last bit of mobility. And warming up this part of my ankle and my knee really helps when I go to those really deep squats. Lastly, I like to warm up my low back. This is another thing that can start bothering me during my leg workouts if I don't warm up properly, but I find that if I really prioritize warming up my low back, I usually have no issues during my leg workouts. And that concludes my dynamic warm-up for my leg day routine. So my upper body warm-ups are not as extensive as my lower body warm-ups, but I still like to make sure I'm really properly warmed up. That way I don't injure anything. So I just start off with some arm circles using either a pole or a stick or a resistance band, just something to hold on to there. And I also go side to side as well as just right down the center. Once I'm finished with those, I grab a resistance band and I alternate doing some lateral raises and some front raises just to make sure my delts are really nice and warmed up. Then using the resistance band still, I make sure my rotator cuffs are nice and warm and just get that external rotation, trying to increase my mobility there as well. And sometimes my upper back can get a little bit locked up, so I'll just interlace my fingers behind my back and bend over, and usually that will release some of the tightness in my upper back. And sometimes I'll get a couple pops too, which feels really nice. Then I just finish my upper body warm up with a little bit of dead hangs. I just do that for as long as I feel like I need for my spine to decompress a little bit. And then I work on some scapular retractions and just get my lats warmed up a tiny little bit. These are also really great if you're working on pull-ups. These can help a lot. So after I do a dynamic warm-up, for my leg day, I'm starting off with squats. I do usually 2 warm-up sets, and this is going to be my first out of 4 working sets. So here I'm aiming to do 6 reps, and for each set I'm just slowly increasing my weight. That way my body can get used to doing a heavier weight. This is my second working set, so I upped the weight a good amount. Here I'm aiming for 5 reps since this is my second working set, and I want it to be pretty heavy, so by the last rep it gets pretty sticky and I'm really struggling to get it up, and that's the effort that I'm aiming for that last set. For my third working set, I lower the rep range quite a bit. I usually go for 2 or 3, and this is less for hypertrophy and more for just me to gauge the strength that I have. It also kind of lets me know how many I can do for 2 or 3, get a feel for the weight on my back, and just get used to that heavier weight. Dustin's getting mad at me in this clip because I could have done one more. My last set I kind of treat as a deload set. So I take some weight off to a more comfortable weight that I feel I'll be able to rep out, and I do that for as many reps as I can. Next, I moved on to hip thrusts on the booty builder machine. Kind of a nice hack if you have trouble getting this up off of the ground is I'll have Dustin come over and just lift it for that first little bit of range of motion, and that helps me be able to load more weight onto the machine and lets me keep all of the tension on my glutes and keeps my low back from kicking in. And I just do 4 sets of 10 reps here. Next, I did Bulgarian split squats on the Smith machine, and I've really been liking doing them on the Smith machine because it takes away limitations like balance or grip. So I've been setting them up with a bench behind the Smith machine and doing them like this. I feel like I'm able to load more weight onto my glutes this way, and when I do these, I do 8 reps on either leg and I do 4 sets. Next, I'm doing these plate-loaded single leg hamstring curls. I like these a lot because I'm able to work on any imbalances that I may have from the right or left side, and I'm really able to target that hamstring and isolate it really nicely. On this machine, I do 10 reps on either leg, and then I do 4 sets total. My head is completely chopped off in this part of the video, which is wonderful, but one of my favorite leg day finishers is some leg extensions. And what I do for leg extensions is I'll start with a weight that's pretty heavy for 10. I'll do 10 reps, and then I actually drop the weight down by 10 pounds. And then when I drop the weight, I do 10 more reps, and then I do the same thing one more time, drop the weight, and 10 more reps. So it ends up being 30 reps total, just dropping the weight 10 pounds each time, and by the end of this, your legs will be on fire. And I actually repeat that 3 times. So I drop the weight 3 times, count that as 1 set, and then I do that 2 more times. Next, I'm doing a pull day, including back and biceps. So I'm just starting off on this plate-loaded lat pull down, and I'm doing 4 sets of 8 to 10 here, trying to go pretty heavy. Next, I've been doing these single arm machine chest supported rows, and I've been liking these a lot because they're a really good lat isolation movement. I try to do these pretty heavy but also slow and controlled, and I've just been doing 8 to 10 reps on either side in 4 sets. Next, I did these dumbbell bent over rear delt flies. I like these a lot for targeting my rear delts, and I just did 4 sets of 10 here. And lastly, I finished off with some hyperextensions, holding a barbell down below me. I do these with my knees slightly bent and my feet a little turned out so I can target my glutes, and I keep my upper back rounded, and that helps with that as well. For these, I did 3 sets of 12. Next, I'm moving on to some biceps. So I'm using the easy bar, and I'm actually facing the opposite direction on the cables. That way I'm keeping tension on my biceps the entire time, and I'm just doing normal easy bar curls but with the cable facing the opposite direction. After that, I'm doing some hammer curls facing the opposite way on the cables as well. That way I'm keeping tension the entire time, and I'm just doing those hammer curls, keeping my grip neutral, trying to keep my elbow tucked to my side. And these are really good if you feel your forearms during bicep curls. This eliminates that. For my second leg day, I like to do a hack squat instead of a back squat. On the hack squat, I start with 2 warm-up sets, and then I jump straight into my first working set, and I go for sets of 8 to 10 on all of my working sets. And my 4th set, I do a drop set, and I forgot to film this, but what I do is I start with a pretty heavy weight, and I go for 5 to 6 reps. I drop it down by a plate on either side, try and get 8 more reps, drop it by 1 plate 1 more time, and try to get 10 to 12 reps. Next, I'm doing these cable kickbacks for the glute medius. And what I do is I stand slightly behind it. That way I can allow my working leg to come in front of my standing leg and get that extra stretch. That way I can get that good squeeze in that glute medius. And I superset those with these cable kickbacks going directly backward for the glute maximus. And I'll do 10 reps on either leg, and I do 3 sets of that. Then I'm doing these heel elevated Smith machine squats, and these are a really good way to target your quads if you have a harder time doing that and you're glute dominant like me. So I've been doing these on the Smith machine as a good way to target my quads. I did 4 sets of 8 reps on this. And we're back on the single leg plate loaded hamstring curl because this is my favorite exercise for hamstrings. So same deal as last time, 4 sets of 8 to 10 on either leg. And I forgot to film myself doing leg extensions on this day, but I do the exact same thing as I did last time. 3 drop sets, dropping the weight each time, 10 reps each time you drop the weight. So next in my workout split, I am doing a full push day, and I'm starting off with this incline plate loaded chest press, and I'm realizing now that it looks like a shoulder press, but I promise it's actually an incline chest press. Here I'm just doing 8 to 10 reps, trying to keep the weight pretty heavy, and I'm trying to go slow and controlled as I do these. Next, I'm moving on to a dumbbell seated shoulder press. Here I do 1 warm-up set, and then I do 4 working sets of 8 to 10 reps. Next, I'm doing tricep push downs on the cables, and I'm actually using one of those mag grip things, and I put 2 handles on it. And the reason I do this is it allows me to take a wider grip than a rope would, and it allows me to get further extension down toward the side of my body. Here I do 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps. For my second chest exercise, I'm doing cable chest flies on a decline. So I just adjust the handles all the way up, and I'm doing this sort of as a mix of a fly and a chest press, and I actually cross my hands over, switching directions each time, and I find that this extra range of motion really helps get that squeeze in the middle. On this one, I'm doing 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Next, I'm doing this lateral raise variation, and this has been one of my favorite variations for lateral raises. It helps me to not feel lateral raises in my traps, which is an issue I have a lot. So I'm actually crossing the cables over. You can see me struggling to get into the setup here, but I promise it's worth it. And it keeps tension pulling from either direction the entire time, which wouldn't be able to happen with dumbbells. And so I'm just standing in front of the cables that are crossed over and doing my lateral raises like this. And here I do 4 sets of 8 to 10. I'm finishing off this push day with a dumbbell skull crusher with a neutral grip. These feel really good and give you a really good burn in your tricep when you do them right and keep your arm in the same place the entire time. So I've really been liking these as a finisher for my triceps. Here I just do 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps again. I hope you guys enjoyed this week of workouts. If you did, make sure to like and comment. Make sure you check me out on all my other social media, which will be linked in the description box below. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one for coaching, I'm now accepting lifestyle clients, so you can book a consultation call with me in the link below as well. Stay tuned for exciting news next week, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye.